$500 monthly checks, the best option for the low income. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now in this video, I want to discuss the details of ongoing monthly checks, specifically focused on the low income and fixed income beneficiaries and why these are by far the best option for the millions of Americans that need these ongoing payments right now. In fact, as of right now, there are just under 100 of these monthly check programs going on right here across the entire United States, sending out a bunch of checks every single month to millions of low-income Americans. Therefore, there are many more of these programs to come, and that's why I want to talk about it here in the video. So let's get into it and discuss what's going on, and you're going to clearly see with the information that I'm going to share with you right here in this video, this is an absolute no-brainer that these checks should be going out to a lot more people right now. Anyway, let's get into it and talk about all the details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching all this new information, hitting the wire, doing the research and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay posted on what's actually going on right now as things are changing very, very rapidly. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. And also remember, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. That's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, that's my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. All right, thanks again. Let's get into it and talk about ongoing monthly checks, $500 every single month, no strings attached, and why these payment programs are so incredibly popular, why they're so good, and why they continue to find from report after report after report, survey after survey that, wow, another one of these programs worked. Oh, really? You mean that it worked to send out ongoing monthly checks for the low income and it actually helped people out? Really? Wow, we must have some really smart people behind all of these reports and surveys because they're finding everything that all of us already know. Send a little bit more money to the people that need it, and by golly gee, their lives are going to be a little bit different and a little bit better. Seriously, I mean, does it really take like a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out? Anyway, let's talk through the details about this. All right, so I want to specifically talk about a new report that was released, and they're discussing the details of these ongoing payments. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, in fact, as of right now, there are 98 of these different monthly check programs that are going on all across the United States right now. And there's a lot more to come. That's a lot. In fact, let me tell you this much as well. At the end of 2019, that's when the first one of these guaranteed basic income programs started. It was not even that long ago. Just a few years ago, the first of these programs started in Stockton, California. And ever since then, we've seen a ton of them. In fact, between last year, or the last 2 years, I should say, we've seen a bunch of these programs popping up. I mean, tons of these programs popping up. So we can clearly see that this is the direction that this country is going, and we can clearly see that these programs are popular and ultimately doing what they're supposed to do. Let me tell you some more statistics as well here. So last year, okay, this survey came out and it showed last year alone, there were 37.9 million people in the United States living in poverty. That's a ton of people. That is just under 38 million people as of last year. Now, guess what? As a result of the cost of living that continues to rise, rapidly rising prices, the federal poverty line rising so far this year in 2023, and we know that incomes are not keeping up, guess what's going to happen? That number that we saw, that 37.9 million people that are living in poverty as of last year, guess what? It's probably going to be well over 40 million people this year just because of all the details I just gave you right there. Federal poverty line increasing, incomes not keeping up, and of course the cost of living, therefore pushing more people down. Unfortunately, that is the fact of the matter, and we know this already. That is a huge statistic. Not only that, it shows that just under 12% of our population is living below the federal poverty line. So go take a walk down your street, count 100 people. Out of those 100 people that you see, 12 of them essentially are in poverty. Sad situation. That is a huge statistic. That is not something this country should be proud of, right? Anyway, let me tell you some more details about these programs and why these are the solution. Well, number one would be basically what I already alluded to just a minute ago, which was with all of these surveys, all the reports, and all the studies that we continue to see with these ongoing monthly check programs, it lifts these people, again, obviously out of poverty, or at least to the federal poverty line, which is a huge, accomplishment in itself right there. But here's what they also found. is that these individuals that are getting the money are not only, buying the necessities and doing things to better their lives and make sure that, all is good for them, but at the same time, this money that they're getting as a result of these no strings attached ongoing monthly checks is also helping out the local economy. Whoa! That's a huge shocker. I never would have thought that one at all, right? How about you? I mean, seriously, this is like such basic stuff right now. You give the money to the people that need it, and what do they do with it? They spend it on necessities. Therefore, the money goes back into the economy and it helps everybody out, all like in a big circle, right? So at the end of the day, we can clearly see that these programs continue to work and they're so incredibly popular and they continue to help the people that actually need it, right? So it's like a multi-fold effect here. So number one, obviously, it's helping the people who need the money buy the necessities and things that they need. It gives them a little bit more cash to give them a little bit more breathing room. Again, does anybody need a little bit more breathing room these days? I think let's all say it together now on the count of three. 1, 2, 3, yes! Right? I mean, seriously, how many times do we have to say this stuff? I should probably send this video to all the lawmakers because clearly they don't maybe step out of their little bubble or something, because I don't know if they don't see this or what's going on here, but this is very apparent with all the reports that we're continuously seeing. All right, so anyway, basically what it does is it gives more breathing room to all the people that need the money. Next, these individuals go out into their local economy, again, spend the money. Well, what happens then? The businesses, the small businesses, the medium businesses, whatever happens there, what do? They have more demand for their products, their services, things like this. Therefore, they need to buy more inventory. They need to replenish their stock. And guess what else they need to do? They need to hire more people. Wow, another effect of sending out ongoing monthly checks. And then guess what also happens as well as a result of that? The local economy gets some tax revenues from sales taxes and things like this. And also the federal government gets more money because of hiring. Therefore, more people are paying in through federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security taxes, Medicare tax, all of the things like this. Look at this. It's just it's a big cycle here where we continue to see time and time again that, wow, it's more about, giving the money to the people and then the major effects of all of this as well. So basically what the report goes on to show that if they were to implement a nationwide program, which by the way, we already know that some lawmakers in Congress right now already want to implement a nationwide program to send out ongoing monthly checks on a nationwide level rather than a local level as in, city by city, state by state, county by county, things like this. We already do know that these lawmakers want to send these payments out on a nationwide level. In other words, the federal government would be issuing these checks. In other words, basically the IRS would be sending a check just like they did with the stimulus checks. Now, I want to make this very clear. It's not approved yet, okay? Just want to make that very clear so we're all on the same page here. But we do know that lawmakers, at least a handful of them, do want to do this. Well, here's what they would find with this. If they were to send out these ongoing monthly checks, whatever it happens to be, $500, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, whatever they would decide. Honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter. Anything would be helpful at this point. But they would clearly see that if they were to send out ongoing monthly checks to the, say, 38 million people, or, obviously just under 37.9 million people to be exact, according to this report, it would have ongoing positive repercussions throughout the entire economy. Again, all the examples that I just gave you. People get the money, they go out to their local economies, they spend it, the businesses thrive as a result, they need to buy more inventory, they pay more taxes, they hire more people, they pay payrolls, they earn more money. I mean, seriously, do you see? The cycle goes on and on and on. So it's like what is that even? It's like a four or five-fold effect of sending out ongoing checks. But here's the unfortunate problem behind this. Some people who are opposed to this look at this and say, well, we shouldn't be sending out money to people that are low income. Well, okay, you got to think outside the box here a little bit, okay? Now, here's the thing. Do we want to help out, I don't know, like 5 sets of people all at the same time by sending out ongoing checks? Now, here's the thing as well. If these ongoing monthly checks were to be sent out to the low income, holding on to the money, what's that going to do? Nothing. It's nothing. Money is useless unless it's spent, right? For example, I don't have any sitting here now. Sometimes I have like a dollar or something sitting on my desk here because sometimes I use it in my videos. Like I hold it up as a little example or something like that. I got nothing here. So sorry, let's just pretend we got $1 in my hand right now, okay? Let's pretend I have $1 or $5, $10. It literally doesn't matter. That money that I would be having, let's just pretend that we're holding up some money now. Any money, does that money have any value? Well, the answer is no. It has literally no value unless it is spent, right? That money has literally no value until it is exchanged for goods or services. But literally just a piece of paper with a bunch of numbers printed on it and some other lines and a face of some guy, something like this, is it worth anything? Well, the answer is no, it's worth absolutely nothing. It is completely worthless unless we give it to somebody else and we exchange it for a good or a service, right? Then it has value. But me just holding up $1 or a $5 or a $10 or even a $100 bill, it's all the exact same thing. The intrinsic value of that piece of paper has nothing. It's literally just kindling. That's about all it is, right? So my point is, we can clearly see here, the purpose behind sending out ongoing monthly checks, well, the low income or anybody receiving these payments, yes, you could hold on to the money, but again, it has no intrinsic value. It literally is worthless. But again, we know that if that money is spent, well then guess what? Now we open up a whole new can of worms where now that money starts cycling through the economy and it benefits a bunch of people, well, not simultaneously, but in pretty quick order there. A lot of people are benefited simultaneously or very close to it, right? So you kind of see what I'm saying here? So anyway, that's why these programs continue to pop up all around the country and why we continue to see these programs showing up and all these reports showing that these programs are very, very popular. Well, yeah, that's why they're popular, right? Now, here's another thing as well. There is some opposition saying this would cause massive inflation. No, it wouldn't. Here's the thing. The problem that we're dealing with now is there was about $6 trillion that was printed over the course of about a 1-year period of time. $6 trillion printed of fresh money going into the economy. Yeah, of course that's going to cause a lot of inflation. However, the stimulus checks accounted for a very small percentage of that total amount of money that was, that was printed up. In fact, it accounted for about 15% or so, give or take a little bit. It accounted for about 15% of the total money that was printed. So that did not cause all the inflation necessarily. It was about all the other roughly $5.2 trillion that was printed that where did it all go? Well, we don't really know that, right? We're not supposed to know that. We're not supposed to ask questions. We're just supposed to take it and pretend like we didn't know what happened, right? But as a result of that, that's why we're dealing with all this inflation right now. It's not because of the stimulus checks, but here's the thing. Those stimulus checks also went out to 85% of the population. These ongoing monthly checks would go out to about 11.8 to 11.9% of the population. Let's just call it 12% of the population just for easy purposes here. 12% of the population is a far cry from 85% of the population. So remember this much as well. Those stimulus checks and all the other money that went out as a result of them printing $6 trillion, that was a lot of money and went out to a huge percentage of people, and the dollar amounts were way bigger. So now we're dealing with 12% of the population and we're talking about $500 a month. Again, the percentages are much smaller and the dollar amounts are much smaller as well. Will this cause inflation? No, not really. Maybe in some very isolated incidents where maybe there's very high concentrations of some people getting checks. Let's just say, for example, let's say there's one city that has 85% of the population in that one city is concentrated of low income. Then maybe we could see some selective inflation on different items and or services. Other than that, it's just not going to happen. The numbers are too small, as in the percentage of people getting money, and the dollar amounts going out to people is too small as well. It's just not going to cause the inflation that people are talking about. Not happening. Anyway, hope that kind of dispels some of that information that's going on out there. But again, this is some pretty encouraging information. And again, like I said earlier, there's 98 of these programs all across the country right now, and there's a lot more to come. Remember this much as well. States are sitting on billions upon billions of dollars. They need to spend it by the end of next year. Otherwise, they got to send it back to the federal government. You think they're going to do that? Not a chance. It's not happening. They're going to spend it, and some of the things that they can do to spend it is give it out in the form of stimulus checks, or they can start some of these guaranteed basic income programs. Anyway, let's leave it there for now. I feel like this video is probably getting pretty long here, but I wanted to explain this. I could sit here and go on and on and on talking about this with all the reports and everything I've seen about this. A lot of really good details out there, and honestly, it's very encouraging. Anyway, I hope this one gives you some better ideas as far as ongoing monthly checks and all the details behind the surveys, the reports, all of these programs that are going on out there. very encouraging stuff. So either way, I will continue watching all this very closely as I do get more details on any of these programs popping up, a nationwide program or anything else out there. Of course, I'll bring it to your attention right away. So again, thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Please remember, I am here for you in any way that I can be. That's always my dedication. All I want to do is help you out as much as I possibly can. So again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.